Many of us don't realize how much public policy impacts our lives, impacts our own life, impacts the lives of our children. As a mother, I believe I have got to stand up, that I have got to awake and arise and see what's going on out there in the culture and understand that I have a role to play. The people we sit next to in church, most of us don't realize how very threatened our religious freedom is in our nation today and in our state. At the Center for Arizona Policy, we're trying to protect religious freedom in the courts, but also to pass legislation that proactively preserves our rights.
We are so close in the legislature on pro-family that just a couple of people missing, and we will see changes in statute. As long as there are differences of opinion, we will always have somebody bringing something that is anti-family to the legislature, but we need the watchdog like CAP to be able to help us, and they do.
We virtually look at every bill that's been introduced in the legislature to see, is this going to impact our families? Is this going to impact religious freedom? What's it going to do to the life issues? What's it going to do to the marriage issues?
They're the ones that on a day-to-day basis will track us down in the hall, send us an email, call us on the phone, meet with us to explain the issues to us, to make sure we understand the undercurrent that's going on, and to make sure that we are organized and prepared to beat back bad legislation that will have harmful effects on the family.
What I see at times at the legislature is an idea that parents don't know what's best for their children. That whether it's the trained social worker, whether it's the medical professional, whether it's another state legislator, that they somehow know what's best for our children and we don't as parents. We fight against that.
25,000 students in Arizona today are the beneficiaries of the scholarship tax credit. They're able to go to the school that their parents want them to attend as a result of that.
Arizona is a leader in school choice options for parents, a leader throughout the country. So we work to make sure that homeschools and private schools are not going to be regulated, that within the public school system our parental rights are preserved, that parents have the right to opt their children out of school activities that are offensive to their moral or religious beliefs, that parents have rights and responsibilities to oversee the education of their children regardless of what their school choice is.
We feel very blessed that we live in a state where we are given the opportunity to choose whether our children are able to go to private or a public school.
We need to let our legislators know that the unborn child deserves the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
This year, we will pass 50 million children that have been killed by abortion. And I think it is the greatest and darkest mark on our history. And Center for Arizona Policy has courageously stood up and said that we're going to be a voice for the unborn, and we're going to do everything that we can to help that mother in a crisis pregnancy situation.
Without the Center for Arizona Policy in the state of Arizona, the cause that we are fighting for, and that's recognition that sanctity of human life is a very basic and important part of everyone's life, it would be night and day different.
Every year in the Arizona legislature, a bill is introduced to legalize physician-assisted suicide. Every year, the Center for Arizona Policy looks out for that bill. We watch out for it. We talk to key legislators, to the Arizona Senate leadership, to the House leadership, and we ask them to stop that bill.
In the kind of government that we have, the law should be made by the people. And unless the people speak through organizations like this, putting initiatives on the ballot and deciding what the policy of the state is going to be, what frequently happens is that unelected judges make the decision. And so when people say to me, well, we shouldn't be amending the Constitution, I say that's right. But right now judges are doing that, because they're interpreting the Constitution in a way that we never dreamed, the Founding Fathers would have never dreamed would be the case.
The clock is ticking for marriage. We've got a short time frame. And the reason the time frame is short is because We've got lawsuits in different states, and they're strategic lawsuits that are calculated to have the largest impact. California is an obvious example, because as California goes, so goes the nation.
The goal of our opponents, whether it's Equality Arizona, whether it's Planned Parenthood, whether it's the Human Rights Campaign Fund, is to so redefine marriage that marriage means nothing.
And just because it is a tough battle, and just because there's a lot of opposition, doesn't mean we shouldn't fight that battle. And Center for Arizona Policy has shown no hesitancy to take on that battle.
It seems to me that in something as basic as the recognition of marriage, that there should be a uniform approach to that around the country, and that that's best achieved through the means of a constitutional amendment. The object here is to support the decisions of the people through their elected representatives or through initiatives or referenda, and not permit the law to be made by unelected judges.
One man married to one woman is absolutely crucial. Aside from it being God's design, we see the effects when you don't have that in society, and we see it in the jails every day.
Our heart is to come alongside the church and provide a service to the church, to serve the church in this arena, to have the public policy expertise to offer to the church, to hear the issues, hear how they impact the church, here's how we can work together to make a difference in our country. We have a church relations director, Pastor Frank Carpenter. We have our Community Action Network director, Amy Adams. Frank and Amy work with churches. They work with churches to encourage prayer, education, and action.
The Truth Project, it's a tremendous project that the Center for Arizona Policy asked us to be a part of. I was very impressed. I mean, it's done so professional. It's so, of course, theologically sound, and just a real asset for us in the churches to be able to share with our people and just help us think more critically.
The Center for Arizona Policy really is our voice as a Christian family, where we don't have the context, we don't have the knowledge of what's going on.
But in all these areas and many others, we see a great conflict between good and evil, and if Christians do not rally to support and encourage those who are trying to bring an influence for good in civil government, it'll leave a vacuum. And the influence that is contrary to the standards of Scripture, and contrary to the purposes of God in the world, and contrary to the advancement of the gospel, that influence is going to become stronger and stronger.
With all the external challenges that we face in this country, the internal one is the greatest. And I believe that a few people can make the vital difference, and the Center for Arizona Policy is the flagship of that effort here in Arizona.
Each one of us has an obligation, a duty, and a privilege to stand up, to awake and arise, and to be aware of what's going on, to protect, to defend, and promote the timeless family values that we all hold dear.